Sorry, who was that?
Hey.
I'm sorry, what did you say your name was again?
Sorry, I was remuted myself. Jan Brennan. And I'm going to be helping out with the conference. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Jan. How you doing? This is Tracy.
Good. I'll mute myself again, but I just thought, oh, that's kind of nice. People are just jumping in to say hi.
Yes, definitely.
Good. Who else is on? There were 6 on when I joined in.
This is Susan Opp from Colorado State University. Hi, everybody.
Oh, hey, Susan.
Susan, what did you say your last name was again?
Opp, O-P-P.
Hi, Susan. It's Tracy.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, surviving that time of the semester.
Yeah, I got your email earlier. Thanks for doing all of that.
No, I'm sort of a type A, like to know what we're dealing with kind of person.
Yeah. No, I hear you. No, that was very helpful.
Good.
Yeah.
So can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
I think I'm finally online. All right. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Chris Siegel. I'm working with Susan as the co-president this year. And I don't know how many people we have online. So I just figured out if this forum doesn't work well, we may switch to a webinar forum with Zoom going forward. Nuri tells me he knows how to do that. And this account may be able to do that. So I will go ahead and begin.
Chris, I think this was a good way. It was easy for me to get in.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Super.
So Chris, before we begin, can we just take a quick roll call? Because I have several people that I've already talked to, but I just want to make sure that I get a list of everyone that's in attendance today. So this is Tracy McLean once again, and Chris is on the line, and then everyone else, if you just want to go around really quickly and just say your names one more time.
Suzanne DeSenza.
Jan Brennan.
Kitty Woolley.
Kathy Simmons, S-I-M-M-O-N-S.
Thanks, Kathy.
Hi, Nuri Heckler.
And Susan Opp.
Wendy Bolliard.
Sorry, Lindsay, what did you say your last name was again?
It's Wendy Bolliard.
Oh, sorry, Wendy. Glad to make sure. Thank you. Is that it? Okay, I guess so, Chris. So we can just start then.
Okay, sure. And so thanks everybody for being able to be here today. I do welcome feedback. Probably email works best as to how well this worked, and if it didn't, technology speaking or otherwise, how we can improve it. So I think Tracy sent the minutes out yesterday. Everybody get a chance to look at those. We wanted to go ahead and just either comment or just go ahead and make a motion for approval.
Kathy Simmons' name has 2 M's, not 1 M.
Kathy Simmons has 2 M's, not 1 M. Okay.
That's a correction. Sorry, I should have indicated that. So she shows up as Simon. I believe she's Simmons
instead of Simon.
Gotcha. Okay.
But if that's the only correction, I'm Brennan, glad to put forward a motion to approve.
One more on the names. I believe that should be Mary Guy instead of Man Guy.
Okay, it's Mary.
MaryGuy.
Okay.
Faculty at UCD.
Thank you. Yeah, that sign-up sheet was a little difficult to read, so I appreciate that. Thank you. I will go ahead and update the spelling on those names. And Jan, we had a motion to approve, so do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. And who was the second? Sorry.
Suzanne.
Suzanne, thank you.
Any opposed? Okay. I guess Robert's Rules of Order said we should ask if all are in favor. And okay.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Very good. So minutes approved. Thanks, Tracy, for putting that out and making corrections.
Yeah, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a little feedback from the conference itself, the national conference in particular. In particular, the meeting we had that evening, our kickoff meeting. I thought it went well, and I haven't heard a lot, but just wanted to open up the floor to feedback.
Have headphones that have a mic in them? Yeah. I mean, I'm just always doing these kind of Zoom meetings and stuff, and I have a separate microphone right now, like a freestanding mic, but this was a case where I was on the road and obviously phone in using my phone, but I had my computer with me, but I was like, I can't headphones and my computer and I'm external mic and that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, yeah.
So for those in attendance, what might work best is just unmute only when you're going to speak. Otherwise, it kind of takes over the meeting. Let me just go ahead and suggest one more time. Did anyone have any feedback from the meeting that we held at the national conference the evening of March the 9th? Anything good, bad, ugly, indifferent, or otherwise?
I thought it was a great meeting. This is Suzanne. And it was a great inaugural meeting. We had, even though they had somehow gotten missed on some of the communications, there was an excellent turnout from UCCS, and then great turnout from UCD and CSU, and the number of practitioners and people from even coming from the national office, and J. Paul Blake, who is one of my partners in crime, so to speak, on National Council as a District 4 rep. So I thought it was a great start, and we were able to kind of start sorting things out, and that was the most important thing, and then trying to get everybody together and online, and I think we're achieving that purpose. So thank you for those of you who worked hard to get that together.
Great, thank you. All righty, unless there's additional feedback, I will take this to the next agenda item. We have some committees that we're beginning: newsletter and communication, membership, recruitment. We want to start thinking about the inaugural Colorado ASPA conference, some budget issues, and start thinking a little bit about annual officer elections, and lastly, programming. Why don't we just start with newsletter and communication and open that up for discussion to see how we're doing.
To be honest, we, to my knowledge, have not made, we haven't made any progress on that, to just full disclosure, but I'm thinking that right after this meeting, I'm just going to set up kind of a chain email with Suzanne and Keith, and we can just start exchanging ideas for that. But I remember, and Keith isn't on the phone with us now, but I do remember Keith actually writes for the PA Times, so I am really interested to hear, what he has to say about it. So as soon as we start collecting some ideas and thoughts on the group email, I'm more than happy to just share them with everyone. How do you feel about that strategy, Suzanne?
That's fine. I also write for PA Times. So
you are as well. That's right.
So working with that group, it will be real helpful. And Karen at the national office is real helpful with helping set things up. So we can talk more. A good plan that we'll meet as soon as we can.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it sounds great. I think we're moving forward, and I think we're doing great. Anything from membership and recruitment? I think Sam is.
He's in Boston.
He's in Boston, but I don't know if anybody's around. I saw Anthony Buller. I think I saw him earlier, and just so you know, we'll probably be tagging up you guys before too long and talking a little bit about that. On the matter of membership and recruitment, I saw that Susan had us something going on that. I read it and I thought it was great. Did you want to elaborate on that?
Which one are you talking about? The update from National or the update for the event that's coming up?
Actually, both is fine if you want, but the update from National talked, we have a membership and recruitment page, I think, right?
Yeah, so they set up, so I sent it to the immediate, so Chris has it, Tracy has it, and Sam has it. I got it from them this morning. Melissa June, I think is how you pronounce her last name, is no longer with ASPA. So there's a little bit of, I think, flex going on in National about who we actually work with as a committee, but they've set up a few things. We have an EIN from the IRS now so that we're actually a tax-exempt legal organization. They've also set up a landing page on ASPA for the Colorado chapter that has contact information, and they asked us and sort of half suggested, half prodded us to provide other things to put up there to increase sort of visibility and membership. I don't know what the word is, to give a tool for them to know what we're planning on doing. So she suggested a LinkedIn link, a social media, Facebook, Twitter, and then a website that she can link onto that. But that's live and it has sort of bare bones information right now. And then we also have
Susan.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Lisa Sedletsky, that now falls under her purview, so you want to be in contact with Lisa.
Yep, that's who I've been talking to since Melissa was no longer there. So she's handling, I think, everything until they replace. So Melissa used to do some of it, with my understanding, and since she's not there, it's all Lisa now. But she's got most of it for us, including so if somebody were to join now, there's an ability for them to pick Colorado as a chapter, and that's new as of the last about week or so that there's that landing page, which will be in the minutes, I presume, since I sent the link out before this meeting.
Good.
Super. Okay, thanks. Inaugural Colorado ASPA conference. Any thoughts going forward on that? Don't know that we have anything ready really to talk about today, but if we do, great. I just want to open it up, give folks a chance to.
So this is Jan, Chris, and I had volunteered. What was still up in the air at the time of the ASPA conference was a sense of when it might take place. Mm-hmm. So have you guys had any further conversation about that?
So it's kicked around a little bit, nothing official, just informal conversations.
And I just, okay, I was going to say.
So I'd like to throw it out for discussion. Is this something we might want to do after we've had elections? Maybe, I want to say maybe 3 to 6 months after we've had elections, or do we want to try and move the clock forward and move something a little faster along? I just thought I'd throw it out and see what people think.
Conferences, having worked on several of them, take a lot of time and planning. Would never want to do it. I mean, you're going to need probably more than 6 months to plan a conference.
Right.
So this is Kitty. So another idea would be to have a conference light this first year. Do something that's less of a lift, and set a date now for fall, and then the new elected people work with, and Jan and I and everybody else work with that date. It's just another idea. Because Jan's right. If you got to start right now, if you're going to do it this year.
Right.
Unless it's smaller.
Yeah,
Okay.
and one thing that
this is Anthony. I'd like to also add that many times conferences are when the elected leadership passes the baton. So we want to have that in the mix, whether it happens this year or not. Maybe the future annual cycle can recognize that the baton passes at the conference.
Good point.
Okay.
So this is Jan. I just want to jump in with two comments. One is, I do think that that's a good point that, we may just want to think in terms of when is the appropriate time for a regular event to occur. And just start dialing that in. Kitty, I like your suggestion that you threw out about sort of a light. The only concern that I would have about doing something that sort of, a simple, easy, kind of quick one-off is I have a suspicion that would take place in Denver. And I am going to suggest that, that it's very important for us to establish right from the beginning that this really is a very genuine and authentically a statewide, effort. And so I would just caution us against doing something, quick and easy, local to some people that might give, a wrong impression. Right.
That's a really good point. My thought on this is, at least my commitment to this group is that I'll travel a little bit. I can combine that with some personal travel because there's no reason we can't do events on the Western Slope. If we do it like some of them like this, and we get everyone on by video so everyone can see each other, there is no reason we couldn't do all sorts of fun things, but we got to get people off the phone and onto video if we're going to do that. And I can help with that.
Great observation. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So we have a number of recommendations for which I'm very grateful. So thank you. I would like to collect these and any others that you might offer and discuss them in our next meeting. And I want to also offer that at some point we'll do these. I'd like to do these monthly, but once a quarter, I'd like to see if we can't get together brick and mortar, and I'll be looking for a place for that, working with folks. Anyway, yeah, any other comments on the notional inaugural conference?
Well, just one thing. This is Suzanne again. Make sure that you work with the District 4 reps, National Council, and ASPA leadership, because we can give you a lot of support. For instance, right now we're working to support the Midwest Conference, and District 4 is part of the Midwest Conference. So we can just know that it's not just the chapter that has to go it alone, but you can get other support.
Okay,
thank you so much for that. Thanks for jumping in with that, Suzanne, because I do really appreciate that. This is Jan again, sorry. And the only other thing I was going to say is that I am cognizant of the fact that one of the people that a couple of the people that championed this at the beginning may be moving on this summer. And so that is something that I want to make sure that we do get, get an initial group together. And maybe I can just meet with some of those original folks. Now my mind is blank about one of the doctoral students, recent doctorate that was was working on some of this paperwork and so forth. And I know he has some preliminary information about ideas about the conference. So I can reach out to him and try and just make sure to download that before he heads off to his next position.
Was that Nuri? Who's on the call?
It's not Nuri I'm thinking of.
It was
Sean
Sean.
McCandless?
Yeah.
But Sean's
Yes,
no
thank you.
longer a doctor.
Thank you. My mind was blank.
Sean is a
Yes,
doctor.
it's just Sean, yeah. So it's just important that we download anything from him before he heads out of town. And,
Yeah.
and certainly that's applicable to the conference, but it may be, relative to other things as well. So just something that needs to happen in the next month.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Any additional comments on this topic before we move on to the budget? Okay, thanks. So are there any I don't know that we have anything yet really to talk about in terms of the budget,
Well,
but I want to leave it out there for you guys.
I can chime in and just say, in addition to us having a tax exempt, they're also going through the process of moving all of those at-large Colorado-based members into the Colorado chapter. And at that point, when she has that done, she'll flag me, let me know that it's done, and then we'll know what we're working with at that point. And she didn't have an estimated time. She just said as soon as we get it done was the estimated time.
Okay. Super.
Caution on this one that not everybody is on the ASPA list for whatever reason. So we've got to be very careful that we include those people we have engaged, all of us, along with the supposed official list, which really isn't updated yet.
Okay.
Would that be, so in other words, what you're saying is ASPA's list of people who are, whose address is in Colorado is not complete? Doesn't represent?
Well, it wasn't as of the time of the conference. And that's why we were missing people.
Right. I know, so I wasn't sure that was that an ASPA issue or, yeah, something got dropped because UCCS wasn't on the list. So do you have any thoughts about actually where the data gap was?
Yeah, it was on the ASPA.
Well, it was on both. It was national and among the state because different emails were flying back and forth with different people. So I think it was a shared issue.
No, there was
nobody to blame.
There was an ASPA
Nobody
council.
to blame.
Yeah, there was an
Pardon me?
ASPA council list that was created from just people in Colorado who signed up for the council. Somehow
but not all those people were on
miscommunication
that
with the Colorado Springs folks. That's all it was. So it's not
all the people were on the list.
Okay, duly noted. We gotta be really careful to make sure we got everybody. And I think also that is probably would help if everyone on this call would take a little responsibility. If there's someone that is new or whatever, maybe you send Tracy their name or email address or something, just so we try to make sure.
Yeah, I will say, just looking at this list that Tracy sent out, it looks like it was probably generated in early February. And I know there's probably a good dozen members just up here at CSU that joined in anticipation of the conference. So my guess is you're seeing some gaps based on that early February through early March. And whether they can generate another report, we might capture some of those.
Philip at National is the person to work with on that list. He's working to try to get that improved.
Super, thank you. Okay, any further discussion on this topic? Not, we can talk a little bit about the upcoming elections. And I'll just throw that open in case there's any comments or updates or thoughts. Did we want to shoot for a date like, I don't know, October, November? Or is that too early or too late, or what do people think?
I think sooner rather than later. This is Nuri. UCD.
Right.
I think if we could do it in 3 months, that would be probably the best. So
Yeah. So
I think if we could get someone at least on board as an elected, president-elect,
right,
by the end of June, that we could begin the transition to the official ASPA board as soon as possible.
Okay. So I don't have any concerns about that. So is there any dissent with regards to why we might not get this done before the end of June? Okay, so hearing none, I'm going to propose on this issue that we shoot for a date no later than the 30th of June for an election, and we can talk about that some more in our May meeting. And if we're able to have an actual physical meeting sometime this quarter, then we can maybe tie things up. But anyway, I just want to throw that out and see if there's any thoughts, concerns, issues, further discussion.
I think that, yeah, so right now it looks like Jack, Nuri, and Eden from UCCS are working on that subcommittee. And I would just be interested to hear kind of what they have to say after they're all able to meet, to see if that would be realistic, because I think that it's going to kind of it's going to be contingent on whether or not they feel like they're prepared enough to support the official election at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be kind of interested to hear what they have to say about it, and if they're equipped to to handle that by the end of June.
Okay. Very good.
And this is Jan. I was going to say something similar. Just my only concern, I think obviously it's great if we can do it sooner. My only concern would just be that we do have those lists totally up to date. I mean, I don't want to have a vote and then find out that we didn't even include everybody that was an ASPA member in Colorado or something. And we will soon be facing, potential communication challenges, as students and so forth, and faculty as well, travel, over the summer months and that kind of stuff. So I would just say, I think we need to make sure that like a month from now, we really have a good list that's giving people adequate time to put themselves forward before we have the election. But I still think that's a doable time frame.
Okay.
Unless we have a problem with, with the lists and inclusion. Yeah.
Chris, if I,
no, go ahead. I've got 2 suggestions. I'll wait.
Well, this was just a suggestion. This is Suzanne again. I was involved with the Kansas City chapter for about 8 years, including being an officer several times. And one of the things that they did long before I came was they had a faculty advisor for each of the big universities represented to get student membership, which was very vital for meetings and for running luncheons or, whatever you would do, a conference if you decided to do that. And that also gets people to buy into ASPA in general in future membership and being active. So you might consider that when you're looking at officers that you create or your slate of, your officers or committee chairs, but think about faculty advisors. In that case, they had it from University of Kansas, because Kansas City was 2 states, University of Missouri, Kansas City, Park University, seems like there was one other, well, those were the big 3 that were running PA programs. And, so you would consider here UCCS, UCD, Colorado State, maybe University, maybe DU. I'm not sure what other groups, but and PA programs are in the state right now. But that really helps your student membership and your ASPA membership.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. We have a faculty advisor for the ICMA group that I'm secretary for, and it makes a huge difference, especially because I know we're not here yet on the agenda, but we're talking about bridging the gap between practitioners and academics. So, I mean, I feel like that's a really vital role that we could create. So, I agree.
Hi, this is Kathy Simmons from UCCS, and I cannot tell you how strongly I agree with that. I think that by getting the members while they're students, you get buy-in earlier in your career and have a larger, stronger ASPA in the state level, and also members who are committed throughout their career. So I really think that's a great idea.
Okay, this is Kitty again, and that I had two suggestions that are logistical in nature if we're ready to move on, and I really like what was just said. One of the suggestions is this platform, Zoom, lets you download an app and use it on your phone. And the reason that's important, and we can explain, tell people how to do that, and you know, send out a little blurb, is that they can then join from anywhere. And it's free, and they don't have to be at the office. They don't have to be using their laptop. So that was my first suggestion, and the other one I may have forgotten and have to email Chris later.
Right. Good idea. I think we need to. We'll send that out our next go around with the agenda and minutes. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other conversation regarding the elections or programming? And I don't want to skip over program. I didn't know, Kitty, if you had anything additional to that topic.
Well, just to say that, and I think it would be interesting to visit a little bit on the Western Slope and maybe up at UNC, and I'm gonna kind of think about how to meet some members over there. I'm doing things on Zoom now with a group called Senior Fellows and Friends, which is mainly federal government practitioners, a few corporate practitioners, a few academics and at Army War College and whatnot. And I'm also in contact with Karen Garrett and Osmite Tawaldi at ASPA and Bill Shields, the executive director. I've done goofy things with them, one-off things that involve mentoring and Napa Fellows and stuff for a long time. So I guess my thoughts on this were basically to find out, and I'm thinking maybe the conference leads, or maybe the conference doesn't need, but we need maybe a little survey to find out what kind of programming people would like to have.
Okay.
And in the first year, it's different because you don't have all the infrastructure yet. So you're probably talking about little bitty one-off things, conversations, and I know a ton of people, more practitioners than academics, but really some of both. And I think on this call, there are some people who would be great panelists or presenters, and we don't need to wait for a conference to do that. Mm-hmm. So just saying, I've been doing events, smallish events, like 36 people for 15 years in DC. And I've been exploring the uses of this Zoom platform for a year. And I think we got all the raw materials for some really interesting stuff.
Okay.
I was just going to second Kitty's idea there around the about the idea of maybe taking a poll. You know, I do think that that's a good way as somebody joins, you know, becomes a member, to, reach out to them and, very quickly connect and get a sense of what their interests are, what their needs are, and so forth. So I think that would be something good that we should consider doing, and that could also obviously inform the conference as well as other programming. I also feel like I'm sure that we can reach out to national and to some of the other regional folks and just ask them, what are some of the maybe popular things that they've done, and just get, gain from their experience.
So would it help if I sent Chris just a very drafty SurveyMonkey survey, and just very draft, and also some draft questions to ask people at the regional level?
Yep, that'd be very helpful.
Okay.
Super.
I'll just add really quickly that CSU has a couple of subscription services to survey software that I'd be happy to help with that.
Thank you. That was my next question.
Oh, right. Okay. I see what you're saying. So I could mock one up using SurveyMonkey, and then you guys could put it into the grown-up software survey. Okay. Cool.
Grown-up software. Yeah. Okay. No, that's great. No, thank you so much, Susan. Great thoughts. Any other comments along these lines? Okay. We have a topic. This is chapter issues, needs, and priorities. I think we've covered some of that, but do we have anything else we want to cover before we move on?
I may be the only one who thinks this, but I'll add that I think it would be at least personally interesting to me if we could figure out a way, at least in this first year while we're building up to a conference, an actual statewide ASPA chapter conference, that we could have sort of mini events at all of the major sort of university centers, so CSU, CU Denver, Key Springs. I think Adams State might be another one that we potentially want to bring in there. I'm not sure that UNC and Greeley has anyone that does PA over there, but I do believe Adams State does have some PA folks. And just see if we can't do like mini little events so that, if you can come, that'd be great. So we could be face to face and see each other and see each other's homes, if you will, and get at the practitioners who maybe can't travel to Colorado Springs, or the ones from Colorado Springs that can come up to Fort Collins in a more unique way.
Do we have, or could we mock up really quickly a handout about the chapter that we could sort of mail people or take with us?
Sounds like that's what Tracy, our communication committee, needs to look at.
Yeah, I agree. We can look at that. And then also, I wonder if Chris has something to say about that too. He might have something on hand since he's dealing with membership and recruitment. So we can touch base with him and see. But if not, it would be easy enough to draft up a handout. We could just kind of keep it consistent with, whatever, the national chapter has. So.
Okay.
Another question I was on this under chapter issues. I'm not sure what you mean by vote on charter bylaws. We already did that, and then they were also approved at National Council. Was there something else we needed to do that you know of?
No, that's an editorial catch. Thank you. I'm going to remove that so it doesn't show up again.
Okay. Great.
No, that was good. Thank you very much. So any thoughts about this venue? I propose that we do this monthly and we try and meet quarterly in a facility somewhere. Does that sound good? Don't know that we have to make a decision today, but it's something I just wanted to throw out. As a matter of convenience, this seems to work pretty well for monthly meetings. So not really looking for a decision or a vote. Just wanted to say that once the meeting's over, obviously, I solicit emails as well, not only to myself, but to the officers. And if we missed anything or if you have further comments, this is just one of them. The meeting, the forums, the venues, frequency of meetings, and if we want to meet quarterly in a facility, that kind of thing. So I just want to leave that out, and it's more of a gee whiz, let's think about it thing. But if this works great, then that's fine too. Don't mind hearing feedback on that. Elections, I think we covered that. I will clean that up. And are there any announcements or further updates that we want to talk about before we think about concluding the meeting? Okay, so that's all I have today, and I think we've covered some territory. If nobody objects, do we want to adjourn? If anybody wants to make a motion?
Can I say one more thing? I do have an announcement. This is Suzanne. I'm so sorry.
Sure.
The Midwestern ASPA Conference, I had promised I would let people know about that, which is in early June, and their deadline for submission of proposals is coming up, maybe even this week. So I just, this is our district, again, is in the Midwestern region. So a lot of our sister school or, chapters in District 4 are represented at those meetings. Last year it was in Omaha. This year it's going to be in Chicago. And I don't have right in front of me the exact dates, but I know it's early June every year. Just wanting to give a heads up if anybody wants to submit something real quick or attend. Let me know if you want any information, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. I may have a conflict, so I may not be able to attend, but certainly you can get representation from the chapter. That'd be fine. I think it'd be great. Okay, any other announcements or updates? Okay. All right, so is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yes, there is. This is Jan. Brennan, I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
And a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Bye.
None opposed, and we will look forward to meeting up again soon, and thank you.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.